Okay, so recording started. So Mel is the founder of Time to Exhale. Now I've actually had treatments from Mel as well. She's absolutely fantastic. I love it. I'm just saying I've got to do another one because I'm so overwhelmed with everything. She's a Reiki master and a mindset coach, and she's based on the Northern Beaches, Sydney. Her background is in corporate advertising sales that has spanned across 15 years, working with Network 10, Channel 7 and SBS before deciding to open a business in natural therapies 5 years ago. So Mel said, I spent a long time feeling stressed. I'm reading from what she's actually told me here. I'm a long time feeling stressed and overwhelmed, making myself extremely ill, which I think a lot of us do, particularly in a corporate type world. Seeing others do the same and reach complete burnout, I decided it was time for things to change. Not only for me, but for anyone else I could help in the slightest way. We all deserve to feel better. Health and happiness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Agree completely. Mel's philosophy is very simple. Be honest with yourself and others. So she has a combination of energy healing with coaching, and she provides her clients with support that is both nurturing and goal-orientated. Her approach is warm, informal, and no frills. It's beautiful, actually. Mel Wood is a qualified Reiki Master Level 3, a certified coach, life coach, and has a diploma of life coaching, LCIA. Okay. Let's ask the first question here. Who do you predominantly work with?
In the beginning, it was very broad because I was just starting out. So it was everybody and anyone. But now I have noticed it's gone more towards women, and in particular women who mothers, whether that's mothers of small children or adult children like yourself. And I feel like I've been drawn and they've been drawn to work with me just because I feel like it is hard living in this world as a woman. With all of the expectations that we have from society, from our family, our friends, the expectations we put on ourselves. And I think women are a lot more open to exploring getting help when they are stressed. So,
great. Now, what do people mainly come to see you about? What sort of things do they do? Some of the reasons they come to see you?
Look, it varies, but I would say the key phrases that I hear when people walk in is just, overwhelmed, stressed, feeling lethargic, unable to focus, brain fog, a million plates spinning in the air and not able to focus on anything. And so I think they come to me because they just want someone to say it's going to be okay and just to slow down. Yeah.
Tell me, do you find that people do get fairly immediate results from what you're doing?
Yes, I do see that. I think you really have to be open. I don't really take on anybody who doesn't decide to come themselves. So if you're coming and open, I think you can get really quick results in a short amount of time. But if, say, for instance, someone's buying a gift voucher for someone, which I did in the early days, but I don't do it now. When the people come who have basically been told to come, then sometimes it's just, they might feel really relaxed during the session, but they're not going to have any real breakthroughs because they're not open to sharing information from the beginning. So yeah, it varies depending on how open the person is from the beginning.
Tell both of us here, what actually is Reiki?
So the word actually means universal healing energy. And to put it in the most simple terms, everything is energy. So who we are, what the planet is, the trees, the flowers, we are all made up of energy and we are all connected, whether we realize it or not. So Reiki, the easy way to explain it is it's just hands-on healing. So the person's laying on a massage table, fully clothed, sometimes with blankets, really in a relaxed state. And I'm just doing a sequence of hand positions up and down the body. So when we talk about Reiki, a lot of people think, oh, I could never do something like that. I could never learn Reiki. We all actually have healing energy within us. And it's the simple thing of, when we have a headache, we will put our hand on our head and try and make ourselves feel better. Or if a child falls over and hurts themselves on their knee, we put our hands on their knees. Or it's through touch, we hug people, we comfort people. All of that is using our innate abilities to heal without having done any formal training. And so I just want to do a quick exercise with you now to let you know what I'm talking about. So if you just got your hands and you just placed them in front of you and just say almost like a bit closer to your ears distance like that. And if you just started going in and out very slowly with your hands, you may start to feel something heating up in between them, in between the air. And then as you keep going, you might even start to feel resistance when you try and push your hands back into one another, right? So just doing that simple exercise is showing us that the space between is energy, right? It's like electricity in our bodies. So that is what I work with, and that is what Reiki is in very simplest form.
I actually did study Reiki, but it's been a long, long time ago, and used to use it with massage.
Yeah, it's perfect combination.
It's like a really sort of doing chakras, which is what you do chakras as well. And also what I really love is that you do the choosing of a card.
Yes.
I love that you do that. It all sort of works in together with a card that reflects on, it seems to, where you're at the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to ask you, you might mention that now. So my next question is, how do you conduct your sessions?
Yeah, so it's really different for everybody because I have three different durations of sessions. So a lot of people just like to come, the most basic one is 1 hour of just Reiki. Then there's 90-minute session and a 2-hour session. So I'll speak through the 2-hour session because that's the most involved. But I always recommend the first time people come to see me, they book 2 hours. Because I have the coaching experience as well, we spend the first hour doing some talk therapy, the person just letting me know where they're at, what's been happening for them, how they're feeling about things going on in their life. And, quite often, I always have tissues because sometimes it's the first 2 minutes of just asking someone, how are you feeling? What's been going on? And if someone has come to me so overwhelmed and stressed and pent up, once they get there, it's just the basic thing of someone asking how they are is enough to start releasing that energy. So, I always say it's a good thing. And a lot of people say, I'm so sorry, I'm getting so emotional. But I say, well, that's progress already. The fact that you're here and that's happened in the first 2 minutes. So once we start talking about what the issues are and what's bothering people, then we go into a bit of, like you said, maybe card pulling a few cards, choosing a couple of crystals. And the purpose of this is not for the person to start relying on those tools as answers, but you already have the answers inside of you. So sometimes we just use angel cards and crystals for verification and validation that something that is going on is actually happening. And it's a message from the other side to say, hey, yes, this is what's going on for you. And maybe this is the next step you might want to take. So I always say to people, you have the power at the end of the day to make your own choices, but these tools help to assist and bring up what is really going on for you. And then the last hour is going into the Reiki, because once we've brought up and consciously made aware what is happening for the individual on a mind level, energetically, we're already starting to shift. So by the time we get on the table to really wind down our bodies and tune into ourselves, we're processing. We're already on that new level of awareness of what we need to be doing next. So then our body plays catch up with that. And then by the end of the session, I usually allow about 15 minutes at the end for people to wake up and just to have a bit of a debrief. I might see things during the session. When I say see things, it may just be, I might feel a hot area, a cold area, a color might come to me while I'm working in an area. Words or phrases might come to me. Sometimes there's presences in the room that I might feel. And all of this information I only share with the client if they are willing to hear it and open to hearing it. So I never promote myself as a psychic medium, because I feel like once you promote yourself in that space, people expect, oh, what's going to, when am I going to meet my husband? Or, when am I going to win the lotto? Or like it does put you in a different space. And I'm definitely not working in that space, but I am intuitive enough to ask somebody, this word came up for you. Do you know what that means? And is it relevant? And, most of the time they will say, yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow, I can't believe that came up. So I'm just a channel at the end of the day. In this 2-hour session, I am a channel and a conduit for what is happening with and around you, but I am not fixing the person. They are doing the healing. I am simply the container for holding that space for them to heal.
Right. How were you drawn to this?
It was funny because I'd never heard of Reiki. I was working at Channel 10 at the time in Melbourne. It was about 10, 11 years ago. And that was probably the most stressful place that I'd ever worked at, just because I've moved from Perth to Melbourne and it was really hard. I was like a country bumpkin going into the big city and going, they work so full on, how this is not happening. And anyway, I got so burnt out very quickly. And a friend of mine there actually said to me, and she's very intuitive as well, and she said, you need to see my mum. And I said, oh, okay, why? My mum does Reiki. And I, at the time, had no idea what it was. She gave me a card and she said, call this number and book an appointment. And a couple of weeks later, I did. And then I resigned the next day. I had nothing, nowhere to go. Like I had no plans of what I was going to do. I had maybe enough savings in my bank account for a few weeks, but then I would have really had to get moving on a new job. But it was so profound, this experience that I had with my beautiful Reiki master teacher, Biljana. She honestly changed my life, and I will always credit her for that. She just opened me up. I walked out of her session and I could actually, like, everything looked brighter, the colors on the trees, or, and I just thought, what is going on? I felt like I was tripping on acid or something. I was like, well, I'm so alert, so aware. I'm so connected to myself. I am feeling in my body. I'm not out here where everyone tends to be. So, Reiki is great for taking out all of the things that are in your mind from other people and just reconnecting to who are you? Who is your soul? Who are you before everything happened and everything changed in the world and changed you? Who are you individually? So that was my first experience, and that was over 10 years ago. So I probably had about 50 sessions with her over a few years. And then I loved it so much that I wanted to learn it. I wanted to do it. And thanks, Alex. Love that story.
Say in the chat, great.
And I really they have actually, that family now has just bought a massive property in East Gippsland in Victoria, and they're all moving in together, the big family unit, and they're starting a wellness and healing centre. So I'm so proud of them. And I said, can I come and live with you? So that's the story.
Wow, that's great. So did you train with her? Is that where you learned?
No, I mean, I trained with Joan Miller at Nature Care College, and she was amazing. Joan. Yeah, I think you might know Joan, actually.
Yeah, I was teaching at Nature Care as well, but
so I trained under Joan. I did learn a lot in my sessions that I'd had with Biljana. I think the learning from that was learning the effect that clients feel. That was really great to learn, because I think now, having had that many sessions, now when clients say, oh, this happened to me, what does this mean? I can really relate to it and say, oh, yes, I know that I have felt that before. And so that was the informal training. And then Joan was the formal training a few years ago at Nature Care. So, and I believe Joan now has moved up to Queensland.
Yeah, she has.
And she's might be doing online. Yeah, so yeah, she's amazing, and she may watch this at some point. So hi, Joan.
Yeah. She's on my list. Who's ringing me? I'll answer this anyhow. That's going to make a big noise, I think. No, it didn't. Sorry, my phone.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, another one of those calls. I always get these calls from Nigeria or wherever, and as if I'd answer. Anyway, so I'll decline. There it is. Decline. How long? You already answered that question. It was about how long do they run, but they can. Mostly, you seem to take around 2 hours.
Yeah, and
I had 2 hours. Have I?
I think maybe that in the beginning you did, and then you went to 90 minutes because
I was thinking time just went then.
Yeah. And it does. And when you're on the Reiki table, like time just feels, it's like you're there, but you're not. You sort of have a bit of feel like you've left your body, then you come back. And that's a really beautiful thing if you can really let go and do that, because that's when the body really has time to heal. Because otherwise, as Joan does say to me, our monkey mind gets in the way, and we are thinking about 1,000 different things. And if we just let our mind get out of the way, our body actually does the healing. It's so connected, the mind and the body. So yeah, 2 hours is the first initial session. If someone is going through something that's really acute, and when I say acute, it could be the death of a loved one, it could be like something really like trauma from sexual assault, or a cancer patient, or something like that, when it's a really acute energetic thing that needs to shift, then we will do 2 hours consecutively for like 8 weeks if that's what the client wants. So and I have worked in that space as well. Yeah.
And I advertise this as how it can change your life. So have you seen significant changes in people's lives once they've had a few sessions?
Yeah, I think the best example I can give, and he will probably be so happy for me to give him as an example, because I always say you're like a stellar student, because he went home and did his homework, and that's why he changed so much, because he was committed to the practice. But I had a client, I still do, he's still my client. He had been with his wife for over 25 years, and she passed away from cancer. And I actually used to work with him, and then he became my client after I finished in corporate, and we started working together on a weekly basis. And it was really hard, because when you've got that relationship with someone for most of your adult life, and we all know we've all lost someone, so we all understand grief. But I think grief shifts and moves and comes and goes, and you could never predict what grief does to a person. So I think what Reiki helped him to do was connect to his higher self, but also connect to his wife who had passed. So it was, a really beautiful time of my life to be working with someone who had gone through that, because I just saw him transform in ways that was just like incredible. He's in a new relationship now. He's really happy. He's moved house. He's, really healthy and just feeling so vibrant. And, again, I was just the container for him to make that transformation. He was the person who did the other 50%, which is, to commit to yourself outside of these sessions. So yeah, and you know what? You do have setbacks. It's like working with anyone. If you're working with a psychologist or a nutritionist, anybody who you're working with, if you've seen them for a long period of time, we all go into setbacks, and we all think, I've done so much work, but now this week I'm feeling so bad. And we had a lot of those times. He would say to me, I feel like I've gone backwards, but as life is not linear, and we can't keep expecting ourselves to be linear in our emotions. So so that for him, I just think in the way it changed his life was he gained an acceptance of what had happened, and he was able to connect to what he really wanted out of life.
Yeah, I'm thinking people though would have to have a certain amount of openness, wouldn't they, to start with? I suppose they wouldn't come to a Reiki session if they thought, well, is this too woohoo for me, or woo-woo,
Well, Owen, my client, funnily enough, he will laugh if he listens to this. He was, when he came to me, the first thing goes, I don't know what this is, but I'm willing to try it. You know, I'm willing to give it a go. And then we sort of started seeing him open up more and more. And then one day he came to my session and he had like a crystal bracelet and necklace on, because I had told him about this crystal shop. And he goes, you wouldn't believe what I bought. And she showed me. And I said, oh, it suits you. It looks really good. He goes, oh, yeah, man, you know, me wearing this to work, like, it's so funny because I'm like the meat and pie guy at the pub with the beer, you know. And he's like, and I think for me, that example always sticks in my mind, because like that is the most extreme of someone who isn't really into what we do and, you know, can maybe appreciate it, but would never come usually. And then I had a man who came who was in his 70s and his wife had made him come. And it was such a tragic story. His son had committed suicide a month before, and he was really struggling with processing the grief. But he was very not into it. You know, when he walked in, I always remember this. Usually I offer my clients a cup of tea and it's a herbal tea. And I said, don't have any caffeine because you just want to relax in the session. And I said, would you like a cup of tea? And he said, oh, yeah, white with one, thanks. Like white black tea with one sugar. Yeah. And then when he got off the table, I said, how did you feel? You know, what can you tell me about your experience? And he goes, oh, yeah, you know, I was really relaxed. Your table's bloody hard, though. And I thought, you know, he won't be coming back. But if there was anything that I shifted or helped him to shift in that session, then you know what, that was worth it. And some people only need to come once to have the effect instead of.
He did have a shift?
Pardon?
He did have a shift?
Yeah, he did. Well, he was definitely, you can see when people come off the table if they've had a shift or not. So most people, when they come before, their face is quite tense, you know, especially around here. And then when he got off, he just looked like he'd left something at the table, you know. He'd sort of energetically just, you know, you're never able to obviously completely, the situation that he had been through, you can't fix it, but you can help him to connect more to himself and his feelings, which he wasn't doing before. So yeah.
So if someone came in to see you and didn't really, they just knew they were feeling stressed, my cat's just come in now, knew that they're stressed, how would you start like they don't really know exactly what they're doing, or they don't really know exactly what you might do or whatever. Oh, as you mentioned, a cup of tea, or you suppose you just have to tune in on people. That's what I was going to say. So you've actually got to tune in and then probably let go of to get too emotionally involved yourself with this, I suppose. But so you tune into a person and then just start a session, and does it just come to you while you're doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. So every person is different. And I think the mistake I made in the very beginning of my business a few years ago when I, you know, was doing the coaching and then the Reiki, the mistake that I made was I was holding on to the structure of what coaching is. And I mean, even though I hold the title as I am a coach, but in coaching, I think there is a very like formal process that takes place sometimes. I had to get that out the window because my intuition was being blocked. So, you know, instead of going down my line of questioning that I would have on a piece of paper that was given to me by where I've got my qualification, I would have to park that and maybe pull out some tools from the toolkit every now and again to help someone. But it wasn't until because I used to take notes, and I don't take notes anymore.
So while people were on the table, you take notes?
While they were talking to me in the beginning, I would take notes. And I don't do that anymore because I truly feel like, for me anyway, I can't link in with a person's energy and thought process unless I am 100% present in front of them without anything blocking us. So yes, I will. I can always tell if someone's a bit apprehensive about revealing information. I might go down a line of questioning that's different to what I would usually do. I might be really soft on certain things because, again, there's a really fine line with what I do and what like a psychotherapist or a psychologist would do. And I have to be really careful that, yes, through Reiki, we are sometimes working on trauma wounds, but I have to be so mindful with my words that I'm not unlocking something that I can't help put back in the box at the end of the session. And I always say that if someone is struggling with something that does require additional help, that they need to be seeing a psychotherapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist in addition to me. So not me and only me, but in addition, and getting the right support that they need.
Okay. Now we've had COVID for the last almost 3 years now. Is it almost 3 years? Is it?
Oh, it's two years in March. It feels like 3 years though. 2 COVID years, but 10 real years.
Yeah. Two COVID years. Well, it happened in March of 2020. Yeah.
Oh, going into third year, Alex.
Going into third year, it definitely is, because we came back from Europe.
Yeah.
And it sort of hit. We started hearing about it, I think, February, March 2020.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, and you had a baby. So we've got.
I did. I fell pregnant 2 weeks before they announced that COVID was a pandemic.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is, how has your business strategy or business offering changed since or due to both of those things happening, or has it changed at all?
Yeah. Well, and I only went back. This is my first interview that I've done. I used to do a lot of interviews, but this is the first one. And I was a bit nervous when I logged on because I was like, oh my God, I haven't spoken about these things for a long time.
I'm going to have to put your details in the chat too, so that you can see, and it'll be in the
yes.
well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But I think what's changed, and so I went back January. I officially started seeing people again. So I'm doing face-to-face sessions, but I'm also doing Zoom sessions for coaching. So that's working really well, having Frankie, my daughter. She's now 14 and a half months. But I felt really, and I think maybe COVID has done this to a lot of us, for a period of time, especially with lockdowns and when you're living on the East Coast, you just become very concise, I guess. You start to cut a lot of the crap out of your life. So you start to realize what's important, what's not. The biggest thing that happened for me was I really, from becoming a mother and during COVID and not having family, I really started questioning myself and asking, the way that I'm behaving, am I being honest with myself? Am I showing up in the world as who I am in here, or am I showing up based on who other people want me to be, who I think I should be? I think when you work in the health and wellness space, a lot of people out there project the persona of a health and wellness person, but they are not living it in their bodies and minds, right? So, and look, we all have egos, we all have things that we're working on as healers. You know, they call it the wounded healer. Yes, Alex, it was very intense to have a baby through such a hectic time. Again, I don't know how I did it. I still don't know how I'm doing it. But yeah, all of those things, because I went into survival mode like all of us did through COVID. So I went into survival mode as a COVID person, and then survival mode as a new mother who didn't have any family support. So I think it's made me stronger. It's made me maybe less tolerant of the bullshit out there. Maybe, I'm able to cut off a lot quicker with things. And unfortunately, it makes me sound a bit harsh sometimes, because I used to be this person that was really like accommodating for everyone and everything. And, that's come from a big Italian family where everyone's like, just keep the peace, don't ruffle any feathers, just like make everyone happy. It's all right. Just don't say anything, which, is a lovely trait to have when you're just trying to get along with people. But I think I've had enough of it now because I'm so tired. And I love my family and we all get along great. And we still are able to be honest with each other without, you know, having big, huge blow ups. But I don't want to be that person anymore who just goes along with things because they should, or because I'm a woman and it's polite to do it. And, you know, God forbid an angry woman on the loose, like, oh, she's hysterical, she's crazy, you know, we get labeled as all
like what's going on right now. Listening to all these women, I don't know if anyone saw that last night on ABC, it actually was, about the women in politics. It's like this whole, what you're saying, this gender difference about women, you know, people thinking crazy, or how dare she have a baby and bring it into parliament, and we have been continually as women, there's no men on here, so it's okay, having to deal with.
We do love the men as well, but
my husband is the most abundant man. My husband, that's another story. But
I feel sorry for men these days, to be honest.
Yeah. They don't know, you know, who they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to act. A lot of them are like that. My husband's very strong and he's very aware. He's very, very aware. But there are a lot of men, I hear from other women, at the moment too, because of disagreeing at the moment with the agenda and on two different pages. Oh, that is so difficult. But with all of what you're saying, I think that all of this must make you a more broader, open, not open as in open to everything, but more understanding of many other sides of women. And people having to deal with this, because we're all having to deal with this at the moment. You know, I think with becoming a mother, because I know I've had 2 kids and 2 different marriages and all that going with it, but how it just changes you completely anyhow. Alexandra, do you have children?
No, I don't have children.
Okay, but going through having a baby and during this time.
Yeah, but I've had friends who've had kids through this pandemic, and yeah, I don't know how I'm not coping, let alone somebody with having to go to hospital and all the red tape and everything that's, you know, around it all. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to cope. I don't feel like I could cope.
It's amazing what and you know what, we all have had experiences in our lives. Like, you don't have to have had a baby through a pandemic to feel this way. You know, a lot of what people are going through right now, you know, not even being able to see family members who are terminally ill, who are in other countries and states. And, you know, this has really challenged us to the point where, you know, so many times I have hit breaking point that I probably wouldn't have before. But yes, Jill, you're right. I can now understand from an even deeper level, when people do come to see me, the trauma and the effects of what is going on around us and what is happening. Because, you know, I don't think any practitioner can truly say that they are operating just as they were pre-COVID. From a mental capacity, like we understand each other so much more, but we also have to be more direct with each other. And the language that we use needs to, because we need to start evolving quicker. We need these breakthroughs to happen quicker so that we can all heal, so that we can get on and protect the planet and be stable.
Bring humanity back. Yeah,
exactly. So we need to be having more direct conversations with one another that don't involve abuse or aggression. We need to be able to hold space for each other and be honest, because there's no time for bullshit anymore. There's no time.
That's right. Oh my God, it's transformational what's happening. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing inspirational, but it is transformational as well. Now it's already 1:30. Have you got anything you would like to add to this? I am going to put up the details here. And has Alexandra, would you like to be asking any questions?
I mean, my question was, do you recommend anyone to sort of learn Reiki from?
Definitely.
Oh, sorry. I don't know, like I'm sort of, when I have tried to search for courses and things, no one actually says how much they cost to do the different levels, and so I'm just wondering, like, what's the cost involved in and so forth.
Yeah, and it does vary. I will put you in touch with my friend Shadi Kennedy. I actually did my Reiki training with her and Joan at Nature Care. So she's fantastic. I saw her yesterday, and she's loving teaching. So yeah, I will pass her details on. She's based in Mossman, so hopefully that works for you.
Middle for you, isn't it? Probably if you're in the city.
I'm in Surrey Hills.
Okay. But anyway, you can maybe work out something with her when she's taking her next classes on.
Do you want me to type it in, or do you want to type it in the chat?
Yes, I will type it in the chat actually. Let's do that now. Cool. Her business is Balance is Key. So if you look that up.
I can't. Oh, here you are, Shardy. Okay.
Yeah, Shardy Kennedy.
Oh, Shardy, that's how you spell it.
I would highly recommend doing.
Balance is key. Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
I know, rather than, but I sort of something thought you would associate it with the other thing, but that's good.
Yeah, because I don't think Nature Care are actually doing face-to-face at the moment because of COVID. So yeah, and then she can talk to you about the prices and things.
I wasn't even sure Nature Care. I haven't heard of Nature Care. I mean, I've heard of Nature Care, but I thought they were not anymore a business. I thought they don't. Like I heard of. I thought Nature Care became Endeavour College or something.
It did. No, it didn't. No, that's not Endeavour.
They're two separate ones.
Separate. Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Australasian College 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nature Care was one, but I have not heard about Nature Care for such a long time. I thought they actually just, stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they're still going. I think they're just a bit restrictive with face-to-face. But I was talking to Shardy about her classes yesterday, and she was saying she still teaches in a mask, but obviously everything is still as per what it would be pre-COVID. So yeah, I think get in touch with her and ask her about the sessions.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, do you know roughly like what the cost was when you were studying? Like,
I mean, it could have been a few hundred, like anywhere between
per level.
Maybe level, because I think as you go along the levels, maybe level 3 was more expensive. I think it was maybe 500 for level 1.
Okay.
I really can't.
That's all right. Yeah. I just kind of a ballpark, like, so I'm not like, oh, it's like $2,000, and I'm like, I don't have that money.
It's not the price of a uni degree, don't worry.
If somebody is
well, at least I would like to know, because like if I shop around and go, oh wow, is that normal, or is that like not normal?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it really differs between someone doing it at home, private sessions versus a classroom environment, because when I did it at Nature Care, there was about 12 people in the class, whereas if you're doing it at home with like 3 other people, it's a very personalized experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, this is a lifelong skill that you will have. And if you can afford to invest in yourself in that way, I would highly recommend it, because when I was doing it, I hardly had any money because I just left my corporate gig. And was trying to sort of move around money for the business, and that was coming under my business loan. So I understand exactly how you're feeling, but I'm so glad that I did put the investment in, because even if you don't make a business out of it for yourself, you still have that skill to use on yourself. And you'll be amazed at how doing Reiki, like a self-healing session, is just as powerful as if you are regularly giving Reiki to yourself. I was getting to the stage when I was pregnant, I was doing a lot on clients and also on myself, and I would get to the stage where I would just not even have to put my hands on my body. I would just lie there and I could still feel the energy flow really strong. So it's amazing what we can achieve by ourselves when we really practice something and keep learning. So yeah, I would really recommend the investment. It's worth it.
Sorry, I'm answering people who've been trying to get in.
Oh, okay.
Why they can't, because we did. I'm just it's weird, so I'm just doing I'm saying, look, it's been going half an hour, but if you want to jump in now, at least you could ask some questions.
Sure.
Mel, just quickly, what's your business called?
So my business is called Time to Exhale. I'll actually type it in the chat.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, this is another thing that has sort of changed. My business strategy's changed since COVID and having a baby. I'll just give you the website.
And I presume you're also located on Northern Beaches?
Yeah, I'm just in the Lambie Heights. So, but I do.
It's funny because I've joined a group that, like, where I live, there is like nobody who, there are no groups.
Oh, really?
Like I've joined Awake in the Northern Beaches. I don't know if you're part of that group as well, but on Telegram and other areas. And it's just like, there is nobody in my area that feels the same as I do, that I know of anyway. So it's just funny that everyone I speak to is Northern Beaches or
I'll put
somewhere.
one to someone who's in one of the groups I'm in, and you're in Surrey Hills, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, she is too. So I'm going to find her. And she's in one of the groups over here.
Okay.
So yeah.
I think a really good idea, Alex. Do you mind if I call you Alex?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think a really good idea is, if you feel like there's nobody in the area, I think a lot of the time just start going to free trials or 2-week trials of, yoga and Pilates studios. You often find that in those communities, they have classes or courses. Some yoga studios do like yin and Reiki. I know that my teacher Joan was doing that for a while at Wake Yoga in Mosman. So I think sometimes those classes are really good to meet more like-minded people, and also you get the advantage of going to a studio that's running a class, or like a sound healing. Matt Ono is a really good sound healer. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. I'll put that.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to my local yoga studio and stuff, but since all this stuff's happened, I've kind of been repelled by a lot of people in my area, just like what they've done throughout the pandemic and how they've
sort of carried themselves.
And I've kind of like, I feel very damaged from this whole thing, and I'm sure everybody has, but I just feel very like, I don't know, like,
you feel very isolated, and I think
and I don't feel safe. And I know it sounds weird. I just yeah, it's been very triggering for me. So it just feels really like,
it's a hard time.
So yeah, I'm pretty intuitive. Like, I'm trying to read people and how they are.
Yeah.
Before I kind of feel comfortable with them.
And that's a gift and a curse at the same time, isn't it? Like when you are so in touch with what's really going on for someone, I find a lot of the time it hinders me from making friends. And I especially since having Frankie, like, the hardest thing for me is, like, my intuition's going off when I meet someone at the playground, and I'm like, oh, they would, they might be cool to hang out with, as having a friend for Frankie because their kids around the same age. But like, it's a minefield, people and their energy and their what they stand for and belief systems. And I think that when we're so in touch, we sometimes feel isolated because we're like, it's all too hard because that person doesn't make me feel like home. Our friends need to make us feel like home when we're creating. And then I've met a great mum who I met her twice now. We've hung out, and I feel like I've known her for years. And that's beautiful.
That's great when that happens.
And they don't happen often, but when they do, it's like worth waiting for,
I had a perfect example, absolutely amazing example of that, because I've been feeling really distressed and stressed about the fact that I've been running my business now for 40 years, and I have a lot of clients, and I've helped a lot of people over the years. Those clients, even though I thought they were, were on the same path, since COVID, it's changed completely. And some of them are still around, but many of them are gone. And it's got a lot to do with
your stance.
I stand from where I'm at.
Yep.
And the other day, I wanted to get my hair cut and I couldn't get in, and I rang her and I said, look, if there's a cancel, just let me in. She said, oh, I can't believe it. Someone's just cancelled just now. Oh, here's someone's just joining. And cancel now. I got there and a woman came in after me that had to wait a little bit, and the girl doing my hair, she said, I know that you'll be interested talking to her because she has very similar views to you.
Mhm.
She has brought in all these other people, and it's like one in particular, I feel like I've known her. I've probably known her in another life.
Mm.
And hi, Lorraine, a bit late on this, but here you are. Do you want to unmute? So
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm late. I got sidetracked so I'm here now.
So where are you? What part of Australia?
Newcastle, just up the road.
Oh, you're in New South Wales. For some reason, I was thinking you were in WA.
No.
Oh, okay. So yes, you've missed all of the beautiful stuff. It has been recorded, and you get my newsletters, don't you?
I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. So
Well,
keep going because we can catch up with all of that.
Okay. All right. So we're just talking about how it is a minefield at the moment, and how a lot of people are having to sort out the way they approach things these days because of the way people are on different levels. Melissa is there. That's Mel.
Hi, Lorraine.
Beautiful
Hi,
Mel.
Mel.
Talking about how she's gone through COVID, as we all have, COVID and having a baby at the same time and still practicing,
Whoa.
and how she's grown
Yep.
from that. So we're
Yep.
talking about that and looking for people who also do similar things. And in fact, I think what we're all doing is actually very much needing to have a tribe, our own tribe, to our people we feel right with.
Yeah, I feel like I've lost so many people.
Oh, I have.
And I feel very lost. Like I don't feel like I fit in anywhere anymore. Like politically, like I don't even know, like everything's, my world has just turned upside down. Like everything that was one way is now another way, and I'm like, I don't even know who I am. kind of thing.
Well, you've come to the right place to talk about it too, because I think that's how a lot of people feel. I'll get on to you later. I'll get your details. I've got you on Telegram anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different people. Look, everybody just about is feeling these feelings.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I think with that, it's about, and I'm hearing what you're saying, and I can really relate to it. But I think if you can go back to first base and look at yourself and how you can actually nurture yourself and find a good space for you, and then move from there.
Yeah.
And I have to revisit that all the time.
Yes.
And I've just been going through something really similar myself, and just revisiting the things that are important to me, what really makes me feel good, how I can be the best that I can be, so then I can do things with my clients and go back and meet them on their level and meet them without being too pushy or too over the top or knowing it all, because I don't have the answers. But that's what I've been doing this year. Yeah.
And that's so true, Lorraine. I feel exactly the same. One of the topics we spoke about was, what's changed in my business since COVID and having a baby. And yeah, it's been able to relate on a different level. And
Absolutely.
Also, and to cut the fluff, like to cut out like to be there for people, but not but to keep things simple too. And
Yep. And no, not to band-aid. Sometimes walking away is the best thing for you, even though you know what they need to do and what they could do and what you need to be doing. But developing that fine line of knowing when to walk away and how much of yourself to give, because some people can be draining and they will take.
Yes.
But we've got to make sure that we've got enough emotional and spiritual energy in our bank balance so that we can care for those people, but also care for ourselves.
If we don't care for ourselves first, you can't care for anyone else.
Absolutely. Yep. And realize that you really do need it, but you are worth it. You are worth investing in yourself. Yeah.
One thing that came up for me before I got on the call today, but we haven't really spoken about it, but we have, but not just in other ways. I feel like a big theme for this always happens when I talk about something that's really heavy for all of us. My throat chakra starts playing up.
Throat chakra, that happens to me quite often actually.
It's control. The word control comes up for me a lot when thinking about what we've been through in this pandemic, but also that we have to let go of control, because everyone has different opinions, and we can't control other people, and then it's about feeling controlled. It's about it's the theme of control. So like Lorraine was saying, we've just got to bring it back to baseline, back to us, and what is within our control. And you know, where are we coming from our heart space? And if we're coming from fear, that's all about control again. So it's this vicious cycle, you know.
It's definitely a theme. It's definitely a theme.
Yeah. So the more energetic work, spiritual work, work we can do on ourselves, whatever's going on out there doesn't matter, because, you know, and having Frankie, you know, over a year ago and through the year, there were days when I had to just wake up and go, okay, well, what's the next thing I have to do? I have to feed her. I have to have a shower. I have to get myself fed. And that's what I've accomplished today, you know, and it really brought it down.
You've got to acknowledge that and tick the box. That is so good. I fed myself with the baby. Shower doesn't matter.
True, but it really, you know, in a way, I know my situation sounded like, oh shit, that's really hard to do that in a pandemic and such. But in a way, I was lucky that something pulled me back to reality, which was having that child and focusing on living and, you know, a living, breathing human being, and just focusing on the three of us and what we needed to do to keep ourselves well. So, you know, if you can have something that becomes a big focus for you, that is not about COVID, because that's all we have been hearing for the last going on 3 years now.
I'm sick of that word.
That's all we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's the C word.
Yeah, it is. It's the new C word.
Yes.
New C word.
But I think with COVID, it's been a really good leveler. It's made us really stop and think about what's important and what's not important. And to me, it's a leveler anyway, because, you know, it pulls everything back where you've just got to stop, and then you've got to really work out what you really want to do. If you're home alone, what are you going to do? If you're locked in, locked down, what are you going to do? Who do you want to spend time with? What's important to you? So I find that that's one of the good things about COVID. And it's got rid of all the stuff where we had to be here, there and everywhere, because, you know, we really don't. I mean, some things are important, a lot of things. Connections are important. I've found that connections with my clients are important. That's one of the reasons that I'm late. One of my clients is having surgery on next Monday, and I downloaded, we've been doing a lot of with Zoom.
Yeah.
I hate Zoom and I don't like social media, but I Zoomed my classes, and what Zoom did was allow me to explore other things. Like I work with seniors, and to get your seniors to take their shoes off in the class, really, it's a no-no. But we've been doing it in Zoom. Pardon?
They don't like it. They don't want
but we've been doing it in Zoom, and we've been working with little balls under our feet and doing lots of feet contracting. And so this lady is having surgery next week, and I know that she's very diligent in exercising at home. So I downloaded all this stuff that we've been doing in class with little balls, and I dropped it into her, and I was just going to knock and run. But anyway, I stopped and we went through the whole series of exercises. So anyway, so that's the reason I'm late. But, you know, you work out, is it worth me going to all this energy and effort to actually download it, print it out, take it over to this girl? And yes, she's one of the people who will really use it and benefit from it, and maybe regain. One foot is almost a whole size smaller than her other foot, and all her toes have contracted and they don't move. So we were doing the exercises, and you know who to give to and who don't, but also you've got to make sure that you look after yourself. So
and say no when you have to.
I've done Zoom the entire time. I was doing it in France in 2019 because I was Zooming my clients back here in Australia. So when I arrived back in Australia and COVID hit, I went, oh, I just continue. So for me, it was fantastic because I have this pretty full on energy, and everybody says that energy comes through even on Zoom. So I'm really pleased.
Yeah.
Now, I've
Yeah.
just started doing face-to-face small in the studio, and I've got face-to-face for the first time for a very long time in a really big space tomorrow. And one of
Yep.
the girls who always came to that sent me a message saying, can you set it up in that space? This is on Manly Beach. Can you set it up that you can still do the live streaming? And I said, why aren't you coming? She only lives up the road. She's in a Lambie actually. Anyway, Mel, she said, oh no, I'm loving the live streaming. I just get up, I put my gear on and I'm there.
Yeah, no travel time.
Now that's an interesting thing that's completely changed. You can't do your Reiki sessions through live Zooming, no, can you?
Well, I mean, technically I can, and I have done a couple. I do prefer face-to-face. Where if it's online, it's more me guiding the person. It's more like a talking through meditation than a full-on Reiki where I'm not speaking to the client. So I will just, get them to lie down and just guide them through. And they have said that it's great, but I think it was an emergency situation that we did it. So yes, my sessions definitely, I've always been a big face-to-face person, energetically. Yeah, I've always felt like that. So, but hey, it all happened at a great time anyway. We had lockdown, I couldn't work. And then I was pregnant. I was feeling so sick that I probably wouldn't have been able to get online and do sessions, So for me, I probably, it was a welcome break for me, especially I'd been working my ass off since I was 14 years old, whether that's part-time work or full-time work, and then starting my own business. And I thought, you know what? We push ourselves so much and to always be achieving and to prove ourselves. Yeah. And I thought I'm going to use this COVID/pregnancy /baby to really take having a baby's never a break, but it's amazing the amount of questions I get from people. It's like, when are you going back to work? When's she going to daycare? Not would you like to? It's when,
So why is that mentality? Like, when are you going to do this? When you're like,
it's pushing, and I think as I've never felt so judged and looked at so closely than being pregnant and being a mother, because everyone is watching. And I think
everyone's got something to tell you.
Yeah. And I think it's this innate.
What it feels like now with this pandemic, similar to what being a mother being watched and judged. It feels like that's
when you make certain choices. Yeah, exactly.
Where you going, what you're doing, are you wearing the mask? Are you not wearing the mask? Are you, QRing? Are you doing this? Are you doing that?
Yeah, probably we're much more aware of it. We were probably judged and watched and out there before, but now we're much more aware because we're in front of a screen and we're more focused on that. So I think it's always been there, but now you've got those couple of extra little things, motherhood, pregnancy, COVID, that adds to the equation. So maybe if you are feeling more pressured now, or not, I don't know, but maybe that's where you're at, that you maybe it was all there before, but you didn't feel or you didn't realize. I mean, motherhood brings up so many new things, emotions,
absolutely,
you never ever realized you had. So
it doesn't stop even when they're adults. Keeps going. Now look, it's already 1:58. Mel, I need you to put your thing in there if you want, but it is recording, to put all your details.
Yes, I've got my website on there. So my contact details are all there on the contact.
And also I've got a recording of this as well if anyone wants it, but I'll put it in my newsletter.
Yeah.
Now, anything you would like to add to what you do, or anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I think just, whether it's me that you come and see or it's somebody else, I just think Reiki is such a beautiful modality because it's quite subtle, and it's just really allows, the experience is so different for everyone who gets on that table. And I think the most beautiful thing that's come from Reiki is seeing someone's face before and after they get on the table, and that real connection. They can walk out of Reiki, and it's not always smooth sailing, the whole self-healing journey, but if you can feel lighter at the end of a session, then you know that something is changing. So I would just encourage everybody to, whether it's Reiki or it's another modality, we need to start tuning in to the intelligence of our bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So any other questions?
No, thank you for organising this, Jill.
I do
Yeah.
think
Thank you.
everyone's different.
Thanks. Thanks.
So
Mel.
if anyone you know or yourself interested in being interviewed and about what you do and what you can help change people's lives, because that's what we're all about, is inspirational women. We actually are so inspirational that we can make things happen. That's my thing. Say it, see it, feel it, make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex, are you called Alex or Lola? What's your best name?
You could call me Alex. Lola's my nickname.
I'll send you a message via Telegram. Those who don't know Telegram, plus I've got my website and my email address and all that sort of stuff to anyone who wants to know anything with what I do here on the northern beaches of Sydney and all over the world. Actually, I've got clients everywhere. On to Barcelona. I was talking last night with Barcelona. Anyway, to conclude, I have to say thank you so much, Mel, for your lovely energy coming through. So this is the thing, your energy is coming through.
Oh, thanks. Stop it. I'm going to get emotional. That's another thing now. I just cry at the most random things.
How good is that?
My heart chakra is just like,
open. But I think a lot of us are having the heart chakra thing. I do a dance out of my classes with hand weights even, but it's the opening of the heart chakra as part of it. And people are just saying they can really feel this, So yes, so people's hearts, but also keeping our hearts open, because we've got to have love, we've got to feel love, and we've got to love our humanity. So
Probably all need a collective cry.
So, cuddle.
thank you for having me, Jill. And it was so nice to meet you, ladies.
And
So nice to meet you, Mel.
Mel, do you want to stay on there for a second? And I'll sort
sure.
out this recording. And thank you, Alex and Lorraine. And I'm really
Thank
sorry
you.
to get on, which is sad, but anyway.
All right.
Put up there. Okay, nice to see you on there. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take special care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, Mel, you're still there. All right.
You want to stop recording?